As I learned to listen, I was amazed at the different ideas and opinions that prevailed on unionism. It became clear to me that the great majority of the members looked upon the union as a sort of insurance scheme, into which they paid their shillings in order that someone else might think for them. For a time I became an ardent but silent trade unionist, and eagerly read anything I could get hold of that dealt with the subject. Then came a strike. The miners fought stubbornly for a long time until, urged by one or two more of the militants, they called a meeting with a view to withdrawing the pump men and flooding the pit. Being a very militant young man and having no great love for the pit, I heartily agreed with the idea. It wasn't my pit anyway. The strange thing about it was that the men who had homes and families to think of were in the same opinion as myself, and voted almost unanimously for withdrawing the pump men. Suddenly they jumped to his feet, an old and well-liked minor union official. "Don't be damn fools," he shouted passionately. "You don't know what you're doing." I remember thinking how ridiculously like a film it all was. He went on to point out how they must all suffer if they did such a foolish thing, and ended by asking for the vote to be taken again. At the second time of asking, everybody voted the other way. I was disgusted to think that grown men should be so easily swayed. I had come to the meeting to vote for the flooding of the pit, and I would vote that way. When the chairman called for those in favour of the motion, there was one solitary hand stuck up in the middle of the crowd. Mine. There was a good deal of laughter at my expense, and those who laughed had, only a few minutes before, been as determined as I was to let the pit flood. In later years that lesson came back to me. Men can often be made to follow a bad leader if he is eloquent enough. More perhaps than any other worker, the miner has need to choose his leaders carefully. He must find men who will not lead him into the toils of class hatred and all their barren, starving consequences. Better still, he must think more for himself.